Hello and welcome to this video. Today I am taking you along with me on a job of mine, which is doing Polyurea garage floors, also kind of known as an epoxy garage floor. Now this is a two-car garage that had a ton of damage. I had to do the prep the day before. I did a bunch of patching and grinded the floor the day before. Usually this is just all a one-day process, but when the floor needs moisture barrier and repairs, then the day before I will prep it. And so this had a lot of damage right here on the stem wall. We don't usually repair the stem walls and make them super nice or anything. So we just leave that as it is. And then this front section up here just had a ton of damage, so I went through and repaired all that as well. So this is a fast cure polyurea. Usually takes about 30 minutes or so for it to really start to get dry. You probably have about 20 minutes of time to actually work with it. If it gets too sticky, it's not actually going to grab anything. So there's kind of like a point where it is still wet, but stuff won't really stick to it very good. So you got about 30 minutes until it's dry though. With the color flake that we're using, which is a blend of beige, gray, white, and black, we are using a gray pigment in the base coat, which just helps blend in everything into the floors so you don't see through the chips and see the concrete. Now, I was experimenting with my cameras. This is my first time making a video like this, and I really didn't want to wear a head strap all day with a GoPro on my head. So I was experimenting with the chest mount as I was doing this part of the stem wall here. And it turned out it just really wasn't the best view for a lot of what I was doing. My arm kept getting in the way a lot, and I was bent over too much, so you just can't see what's going on really at all in a lot of these shots. So in the next part of the video, I changed to my head cam, and you can get a little bit better view of what's going on. But I tried to salvage what I could and took out some of the shots that allowed you to really kind of see what was going on. Luckily, you can see what's happening around all these corners and edges here. So because this material dries so quickly and I'm by myself, even if you have a partner with you, it's still kind of better to do it this way. You'll just get a much cleaner result. What I need to do first is I go around the edges with the 3-inch chip brush and a 6-inch roller, and this allows me to get into all the little spaces that a 18-inch roller won't fit. So first I go around on my hands and knees, do the stem walls or the edges, and after that I will go over the floor space with the bigger roller. This rough spot back here had a ton of concrete falling off, and really just put it on thick back here so it hides a lot of that imperfection the thicker you can put it on. Trying some different camera angles here, just getting under this door. Usually it's pretty easy to go along this piece of metal here and not get any glue on it, especially if it's kind of overhanging off of the stem wall concrete. You can kind of get under there pretty easily without using a bunch of tape or anything. And doing these floors in one day, I don't really have time to tape, so You won't really see a lot of tape on my job, so I have to be a little extra careful. Sometimes it doesn't work out in my favor, but that's what we have to do in order to do floors in one day. One thing that's kind of nice about the metal is if you do get a little bit of the glue on it, it's really not that hard to clean off. The glue doesn't really stick that great to smooth metal, so if it gets on there, it usually comes off pretty easily. And that is the last bit of doing the stem wall and edges. I used a lot of flakes right here. I don't really know why, but that was a lot of flakes. This is actually way more flakes than I ever really use. I don't know exactly why, but I'll tell you one benefit. So there's a fine balance between how many flakes you want to use when you're spreading them onto the glue. If you use a lot of flakes, it's much easier to cover the glue. You're going to just get way better coverage. It's a lot easier the more flakes that you use, especially on the stem wall. If you have a small bit of flakes in your hand, it's just going to be really inefficient to cover the wall without very many. Where if you have a huge pile of them, it's way easier. The problem with that is you're going to have a lot more flakes to clean up once you're done. So you kind of need to find a balance between how many flakes you're going to use while spreading. So here is the 18-inch roller that I use to spread the floor space. And I like to crank these down really nice, especially with a wrench, because sometimes they come loose on me if I just do them by hand, and dealing with loose nuts on these roller frames while you're in the middle of spreading is not fun. So I make sure they're really tight. After about 20 minutes or so, I prepare my brushes and get some things ready. I go and I clean up the excess of flakes that's all around the edges with my blower. A lot of people might wonder why I'm not using a vacuum, and it's simply speed. Going around and vacuuming just takes longer, and it doesn't really get all of the flakes as well. Using the blower just gets all of the flakes out of everything, out of all of the corners, out of, so I don't have to bend over so much with a vacuum and get into all the corners when I can just stick my blower into it and it gets everything out. And so basically every garage has a good corner, and the good corner is the corner where I blow all of the chips whenever I need to collect them like this. And what makes a good corner and what makes a bad corner is, well, basically what corner is the easiest to clean. And this corner here is the easiest to clean in the garage compared to the other one over there on the right side that has two doors next to it. With the doors, whenever you're blowing all kinds of chips into the corner and there's a door there, the chips are going to fly under the door and into the door and everything. And so you're going to probably have to clean the other side of that door once you're done. So I try to avoid like shelving or doors when I choose a corner. And so this garage has a nice one on the other side that is very easy to clean. Now with doing the floor space, we're going to grab our chip brush. We got everything all set up. Put the pigment in, and I'm mixing 8 liters right here. Okay, now I pour it along the front. I like starting in the front because I want the front to be a little more sticky when I go to put the chips down, because I'm going to use my blower to spread the chips around, and I don't want the blower to push the chips off of the glue. And if I spread the front first, my theory is that the front is going to be a little bit more sticky than the back if I do the front first. So one thing is, with these repair spots, I'm gonna have to back roll over them many times throughout this process, because the fresh concrete that I just used to repair it with is just absorbing all of this material every time I spread it on it. So you're gonna see me constantly going back over all of the spots I had to repair. Especially this one right here. I probably go over this spot like 4 or 5 times. So a lot of people will tell you polyurea is a pain to work with because it sets up too quick, and you don't have time to spread it and throw chips on it. And that's not true at all. Just by myself, I'm able to spend about 20 minutes or so spreading and throwing chips, and I have no issues with the glue setting up too fast for me. If you have 2 people, this is way easier. It's way easier with 2 people, but I have no problem doing it by myself. So these are the cleats. They make a lot of click-clacking, and they just let you walk on the wet glue. So as we broadcast the flakes around, I start in the front and I put them on really nice and heavy and get a good first 4 or 5 feet of the front of the garage covered really well. And then I also try to get in any little corners or pockets that are not at a great angle from the front of the garage. And then I use a blower to push the excess that's sitting on top towards the back. This is what really helps me save a lot of time when collecting flakes after the floor is dry, because I'm spreading them out a lot and I don't have to use so many to cover the floor. If you don't spread them out like this, you're going to have to put way more chips onto the floor in order to cover it. The key is, though, you don't want to hold the blower too close to the ground, especially if you have a kind of powerful one. Because mine is corded and not battery powered, it's a little bit stronger, and if I hold it too close to the floor, it's going to actually peel off the flakes that are sticking to the glue. So you want to be really careful and make sure you're not peeling off the ones that are actually stuck to the floor. Also be really careful, because if they are coming off of the wet glue, they're going to have glue on them, and if they blow into the walls, they can stick to the walls, and that's a little bit of a pain in the butt to take off sometimes. And now, after about 30 minutes, that is the base coat and flakes.
All right, we're back after a little lunch break. Let's take a feel. Yeah, it's pretty much dry. Time to start cleaning up.
So again, we're using the blower to blow everything back into the good corner of the garage, and we're going to sweep up this excess and put it back in our box. Now what we have to do is go around the edges with a small scraping tool, and we're going to just clean up all the edges and get the chunky, rough edges taken off, and clean up the corners and stuff, because the flakes don't all sit perfectly flat along all the edges. They're kind of laying sideways, poking out, and going around and scraping like this removes all of the what I just call chunkiness of the flakes, and this just makes all the lines way cleaner and gives you a very nice looking finish. Bigger space of the floor, we use a much bigger floor scraper, but in order to get around the edges really nice, you have to go by hand like this with something small. And this is the bigger floor scraper. It can be a little tricky, so you gotta kind of find the right angle and pressure at which you want to use this. If you don't hold it at the right angle and you don't use it the right amount of pressure on it, it's not really gonna work too well. And especially right along the edges, just be really careful, because it can snag and end up peeling up what you've already painted. And the way I do this is I first go from front to back, and this way I'm pushing the majority of the scraped flakes into the back of the garage, and in an effort to make it easier to clean up. Then I go from side to side, and then after that I go from back to front. And this way I get all of the different angles, the floor becomes very smooth and clean, and you don't have any rough edges. And the main goal here with using the blower, especially when you got all these little flakes going everywhere, is not allowing the flakes to just fly everywhere. There's a bit of a technique that you have to use to keep the chips from flying all over the place, especially outside of the garage. It's okay if they fly all over the place while inside the garage for the most part. You kind of want to keep them out of the doors and the vents and stuff like that. If they start flying around outside the garage, you're just going to have such a mess to clean up. So try to be careful just keeping everything inside the garage when using the blower. This process does take a little while. I trimmed quite a bit of the footage because it's just very repetitive at a certain point. Yeah, to really clean up all the flakes properly and get them off the floor, you really got to go over the floor multiple times. And doing this prevents me from having to vacuum the whole floor. Now, all I have to do is just vacuum the corner. Personally, I think the vacuum is way slower. If I was to take the vacuum and go around the whole floor, try to vacuum all of this stuff up, it would take probably twice as long. Okay, everything is cleaned up, all of the crumbs, the whole mess is all cleaned up now, and it's time to do the stem wall clear coat. Now, whenever I have a front edge like this that needs to be really sealed up nice, because we don't want water and stuff getting into this front edge, I like going at it with the very fresh mix because it's much more watery when it's fresh. As it sits over time, the poly gets more and more thick and it doesn't spread as easily. So I always do the horizontal edges before I do the vertical edges. It's just easier to spread, and when we go to do the vertical edges, we want the glue to be a bit thicker so that it doesn't run down the surface as much, because if you have a very watery, thin mix that's fresh, it's a very fresh bucket, it's going to be very watery and it's going to run down the sides and it's going to create puddles. Alright, the edges are done, and now it's time for the main floor space. Final coat. And one of the main goals here is to finish this part before dark, because it really helps to have the glare shine off of the floors so that you can see how the coating looks in the reflection. If you don't have a reflection from the light outside, it's going to be really hard to tell how the top coat looks, and you'll see what I mean once we start getting all this spread out, and you'll see the reflection of light from outside. So you don't usually really want to do this part in the dark. Even if you have lights inside the garage, that doesn't mean the lights are going to be coming from outside the garage, which is what gives you the proper reflection off of the floor. Okay, we are at that point now where the floor is basically done. The last thing I need to do is just get this evenly spread and remove the streaks. I really wasn't liking the streaks that I kept getting out of this, and so I had to kind of back roll it quite a few times to really get these streaks out. Now, a trick to use in order to get streaks out is to not put pressure on the brush while you move it across the floor. So I usually will pull it along behind me so that it's just resting on its weight and I'm not pressing down on it. So get a little look here and you can kind of see some of the streaks in it from back rolling. So now I need to back roll side to side to get those streaks out. And you'll see how I'm kind of dragging it along behind me so that I'm not pushing down on it as I go across the floor. And that is it. This is the final product. It came out really good. Looks good as new. So if you like this video and you enjoyed what you saw, please give this a like and consider subscribing. I'm gonna try to do this whenever I go to do a floor and just document the process and show the transformation. So if you like this, feel free to subscribe because there's more coming. Until next time, take care.